Greetings, dear lovers of communication. It is time for another breakdown. This time, instead of breaking down a speech, I might break down this guy's speech later. For now, I'm going to break down this guy's article. It's from a website called Presentation Zen. Yes. Yet another person who's basing their whole career on their TEDx talk. Hey, man, I've never been in a TEDx talk, but apparently everybody else in the world has. If anyone who ever watches this and you work with the TED organization, what are you doing? You're destroying your brand. Everybody and their mom can do a TEDx talk. And it used to be about technology, engineering, and design. And now it's just about like fucking anything. Finding your passion, how to be authentic. Seriously? Anyway, the reason I decided to point this one out is 10 tips to improving your presentation today. That's what this is about. So I'm hoping that these 10 tips will be something practical. And here's how we're going to judge it, dear viewer. Here's how we're judging it, okay? Listen. Here's the example. You're doing a report card, a company report card. So you're having your team come together, let's say, I don't know, some sort of company, like let's say you're a experiential marketing company and you're doing the corporate report card, meaning that like you're going to go through like the highlights of the year, places that you improve, places you need to improve on. If we can use these 10 tips in that presentation, then maybe we got something. But I'm kind of giving it away here a little bit. I read the first paragraph and I saw this why storytelling matters. And I thought, I'm almost positive that this is going to be another thing about how to teach you to become a motivational speaker and have nothing that we can all use. Hopefully I'm wrong, Mr. Reynolds. Okay, tip number 1, turn off your computer. Most people open a computer and create an outline. Don't do this. Preparation should be analog in the beginning. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it doesn't have to be. Sometimes I will make like some notes, an outline on like a note doc or a Word doc, and I'll use that as kind of like my starting point. You've got to get your ideas out of your head and on the wall so you can see it. Yeah, which probably means you can be making a PowerPoint deck. Isn't that contradictory? Aren't you contradicting yourself there? We've got to see the details and subtract and add, but mostly subtract where needed. You've got to see the big picture. Ideas and patterns are easier to see when they are up on the wall or spread out on a table. But when do we have that opportunity? Well, I guess, if I'm at the office, I can go to the boardroom and write out a presentation like that. Most of us aren't doing that, though. Most of us will have to prepare a presentation at our desk. But I guess, in theory, you're bad. That's not bad. Okay, I'm ambivalent towards that recommendation. Could we use it for a corporate report card? Maybe, but wouldn't the corporate report card involve showing some graphs and figures? But how I practice, put your audience first. No, I don't know why people keep saying this. Listen, you're right, because you're probably going to say most people don't consider their audience. They think about all the things you're going to say. You're right. But here's the thing you're not getting, Mr. Reynolds, is that everyone thinks they are doing this. And the reason they think they are doing this is because no one's giving them a way to test. So let's see what you say. Even when you are telling our story, we're really telling the story. It's designed and told well. Our story is really their story. My story is your story. Oh my God. How about a little fromage? Which they are arranged, may be unique to us, but the theme is universal. The message or the lesson must be accessible, useful for your particular audience. The advice may not be, and it may not sound exciting, but it's true. Know your audience. Yeah, but most people do know their audience. 9 out of 10 presentations are not these like TEDx talks, man. 9 out of 10 presentations are me doing my corporate report card in front of the team and everyone knows who they are. It's our regional meeting where we do every year, where we go through all the departments and what they've done. And you kind of know the audience already. This does not help you, but let me give you a tactic that will, dear viewer. there's a very simple thing you can do here to check in with your audience or to put your audience first. And it's a very simple strategy. Is every 2 or 3 slides, every 2 to 3 minutes, okay? Ask your audience this question. What would you do? What do you think about this? Throw out the question to your audience and get them to start answering you. If you're only getting one word responses back, it means they weren't paying attention. And it means you got to be asking more questions. If you start getting opinions, it means you're touching on a point and now you're speaking to your audience. That's it. That's all you got to do. Here's another one. So why does this matter? What do you all think? Those specific questions I use all the time. And it's a way for me to check in with my audience to make sure that they care about what we're watching. And when I get really like, I don't know, it means this is not resonating with them and I got to try a different approach or I got to move on to something they do care about. Done. All right. Have a solid structure. Are you going to give us a structure, sir? The structure can be very simple, but you need it there to help you build your narrative. Once you give the presentation, the structure will often see. This is one of those examples of a good idea with no follow through. In fact, that's what all of this has been so far. As opposed to what is the big test I'm giving you right now? As opposed to not having the structure. The problem is that we all think we are doing this already, but no one has shown us how. A story needs architectural structure, which is completely forgotten once you see the movie. Sure, great quote. Okay, most presentations will not follow classic story structure, whatever that's supposed to be. That's you trying to sound like you know what you're talking about, the classic structure. Here's one thing you do say that's really good. I'm just scanning here. A top 10 list. Great, easy structure. Top 3 list would be a lot better. In a presentation, TED Talk's like what, 20 minutes? Top 3 list, even better. Reverse top 10 list, another great presentation structure. Here's another one, and this is because you're like you said this, not me. Tips to improve your presentation, not tips to improve your storytelling. But so far, this has all been kind of about storytelling. I feel that, at least. Aren't you getting that impression, everybody? Right? So if you're going to do a story, here's a good one. This is very simple because I'm sure he's going to talk about stories. I'm almost positive he's going to talk about stories and how the story needs to follow like the hero's journey or something like that. But whatever, that's impossible to do if you don't. I don't know what that means. 5 or 6 sentences, problem. Say the term what if, 5 or 6 sentence, solution. Does it have to be 5 or 6 sentences? No, I'm thinking about, this is like maybe the first thing you say. You're doing this as your opening to establish the presentation. But you could have problem, what if, solution. Go back to a specific part of that problem, what if, specific part of the solution. Then next part of that problem, talk, 5 or 6 sentences, what if, solution, like a hierarchy. There, structure. Have a clear theme. Again, most of the time when we're presenting, Mr. Reynolds, if I'm doing my corporate training, if I'm doing my corporate report card, we already know what the theme is. Sometimes conferences have themes that everyone tries to fit into, and that can be something. But that, like, what does this mean? What is your key message? Okay, this is good. What is your one sentence? Is I think what we should be. If you had to break your presentation down into like 1 or 2 sentences, what would it be? That's strong. This I agree with. What is it you really want people to remember? Yeah. Data, evidence, and logical flows are important, but we must not lose sight of what is really important and what is not. Often talks take people down a path or great detail and loads of information. This is very true. And it's a death of a presentation. The more details that you include and the more complex your talk, the more you must be very clear on what is it you want your audience to hear, understand, remember. Yes, how? If the audience only remembers one thing, what should it be? Write it down and stick it on a wall so it's never out of your sight. Again, how? Like, here's what, okay, write it down and put it on the wall assumes that you already know what your one sentence is. How do we get to that one sentence? And then once we have that one sentence, how do we use it? And let me give you, here's what you do, okay? You present your speech, and I think I talked about this in a different video, but you present your speech, okay? You time yourself. Put the phone on, you time yourself. Suppose it's like 10 minutes. Fine. Cut the time in half, and you got to cover all the same stuff in 5 minutes. Then cut the time in half, 2 minutes, then 1 minute. And then once you get under 1 minute, do it one last time for like 30 seconds if you can. Then summarize your presentation in 10 words. That's when you'll have your key message. Done. Then how do you use that key message? Like, I mean, this is another one of those, as opposed to what? Not having a key message, not trying to use it. Here's how you use it, my friends. You have to make your key message your transition when you go between different ideas. Or if you're going to do a top 10 list between different slides. So here's what I mean. Suppose the key message was in the corporate report card was customers that get visited more, buy more. That means every time I move on to a new section, I repeat that phrase either as a full out sentence or I repeat it as a question. So I say, so remember how we said at the beginning, customers who are visited more, buy more. How do we know that? So we've established that we know that customers who get visited more buy more because they get very used to seeing the logo. Therefore, how can we make sure they see the logo all the time? Using questions and then repeating my key sentence in all the key parts, because then I can make sure I can maximize the probability that what they will remember, the thing they will repeat to everyone else. And that's not mine. That's a reporter from NPR was saying that. What is the one thing that they're going to repeat to everyone else a week later? What was the thing about? Oh, that was like they were saying, if the more we go, the more the customer is going to buy. It was something like that, right? Because that's literally how we remember things. That's how you've done it. Oh, it was something like, there, have a clear theme. I hope that helps. All right. This video is already way too long. And so I'm going to cut it here. I'm going to make a part 2 of this. I wasn't intending to make it part 2, but I'm going to make a part 2 of this video where we cover 5, 6, there's 10 of these, I think, right? And that was the first 4. Mr. Reynolds, valid points, no substance so far, but I'm hoping you will prove me wrong later on down the road. Dear viewers, dear learner, dear sweatpant wearer, because I know you're wearing sweatpants. I know you're wearing sweatpants. Thank you for joining me. If you like my style, if you kind of like some of my ideas, in the description, I have a link. I have 2 classes on Udemy, super cheap too. One is all about public speaking and one is all about making presentations, real practical skills that you can actually use in your day-to-day presenting, not motivational speaking presenting, which is not what we do. 90% of the time, it's corporate report cards and that kind of stuff, right? So I designed those 2 courses to give you skills and tactics you can use right away. Thank you very much, dear viewer. See you next time.